what year was it when Admiral Byrd went down?
I think, if I remember right, it was late 30s, maybe.
And Admiral Byrd went down, for you guys that don't know, and was like checking out Antarctica. And when he got there, I guess that he saw like this hole that led to the fucking center of the Earth.
Yeah.
And people definitely believe that there's like aliens in the center of the Earth. Like,
I do believe
this
that.
is a big theory.
Right. Yeah, it's a pretty big conspiracy theory. See, the one I heard about Admiral Byrd wasn't so much the center of the Earth, but he flew over the ice wall. And this is kind of flat Earth theory, but I don't believe in flat Earth. But and there was a bunch of land with greenery and civilization. And they like tractor beam his airplane in and pulled him in and
Wow.
had a chat with him. I guess that was something in his diary.
Really?
Yeah.
Wild as fuck. Do you believe in an ice wall?
I don't believe in the ice wall as they believe, like the flat Earth theory. I mean, the Earth could be bigger than we think it is, I guess. I don't know.
Well, yeah.
But haven't they proved that with ancient science?
Well,
that by using the actual Egyptians came up with how to measure how big the Earth was by putting shadows of, structures they knew at different times of the day and how it moved and how far that distance is. And then you could calculate the curvature of the Earth and how big the whole Earth was off of that.
right.
Yeah. And they said it was way bigger, huh?
Well, they were really close to the reality of what we believe now is
Right.
the size of it.
Well, I do know that there's like ancient fucking Chinese maps and shit that have like other fucking lands on them.
There are maps out there that are pre the discoveries of these continents where the continents are on them.
On them, yes.
Yeah.
From
How
the
is that
1500s.
possible?
Antarctica from the 1500s for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's fucking wild.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild. The Chinese were on top of things. So they had fucking old ass fucking.
Yeah, and they supposedly discovered Antarctica in the 1800s, but there's maps from the 1500s that have Antarctica on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you ever heard that every country of any power on the globe has a section of Antarctica that they can claim their own, but no one can claim the whole place?
I did not know that. I know that NATO, or like the world, has like a fucking
They have a
treaty saying we're not putting any kind of military on Antarctica.
Right.
Mhm.
But guess what? It's guarded by fucking military.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, there's places you can't go down there for whatever reason.
oh, you have to have permits to go down there and explore or anything,
Right.
and they'll give you certain zones. That's
What I think is wild is some of so we got pyramids in Egypt and the pyramids in South
Pyramids
America.
everywhere.
Every continent.
And all of these pyramids are on certain lines. I can't remember what they call these lines, but if you line it up, they go on these certain lines across, and they're parallel to each other. They line up.
you talk
And
about
then-
latitude.
No, not latitude. No, the pyramids are on these certain lines. Again, I can't remember what the heck they're called, but if you look at them from a satellite imagery, they're on the pyramids here in America. In the Americas are on the
They
same
hit
line,
like the equator or something, or
whatever line they were using.
yeah. I feel
And,
like I've heard something shit like this.
and
Some of
there-
the South American,
Right,
Because there's equator, or there's pyramids even in North America.
Some
Oh, yeah.
believe those pyramids are also power
Yeah.
producing and align with the certain constellations.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely,
For
yes.
their power.
An energy chamber, or like
Right.
That's why they had a cap on the top that was made of metal
Mhm.
gold, actually.
and gold
And-
and conductors.
Yep.
You know, I heard a story.
And it was filled with water, and electricity
Right.
fucking moves through water. Yeah, they'd fill like the pyramids with water,
Right.
and that's how they were conducting the electricity to go through it. Then it
Wow.
would be like contained into a certain area with the gold cap and then shot up.
Mhm.
Whether it was to bring energy in, I don't know if it was like bringing energy in from static, and like they were powering their fucking whatever their buildings and whatnot back then.
They found hieroglyphs of all kinds of things, light bulbs, spacecraft.
Yeah, I've seen the spacecraft.
Spacecraft.
Yeah.
Just weird things that you
A
would
computer. What they said was like a computer.
Never, right. Yeah. They found that computer over in I think
I
it was
don't remember
Greece
where
or
that
somewhere off of the Mediterranean coast.
And
I
they
believe
said
it
it
was.
could calculate high, algebraic,
Equations.
equations,
Right.
which
No
blows
shit.
my mind.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's what they think. I mean, I'm sure they didn't get it running because it was all rusted.
Well,
So it's
yeah.
pretty much like a calculator,
Right.
like
Yeah.
a calculating computer.
Right.
Maybe it was. Well, those motherfuckers back then were precise on their cuts.
on everything, on cuts.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
To an impossible degree. Even now, we can't do cuts like those guys did on some of those.
They had
pyramids.
engineers go to
Right.
Egypt and try to build a pyramid
Mhm.
with what they knew they had back then, and they couldn't do it.
And another
Wow.
thing is on their statues, they have their giant statues that are in those walls and stuff over there in the Middle East. So I guess what they were saying, this is a few months ago, I read about this. What they were talking about was the faces are symmetrical to a degree that you
We're
would have
not.
you would
Yeah.
have to use a computer to do it. Some jackass didn't get up there and just carve this out. Even Mount Rushmore isn't symmetrical faces like these are. They're perfection.
Or all the
flat.
drawings that are giant figures and
Oh
what have
man,
you
we
from
have
all
that
over the
in
world.
like North America where
Yeah.
they have those mounds. They do like
Yeah.
the snake mounds, and
Uh-huh.
like the only way you'd be able to fucking see one of those
It's
mounds
from the air.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we weren't flying till fucking Orville,
Yeah.
right?
We were flying before that. We had hot air balloons.
Oh
and-
yeah, I
and
suppose
blimps,
that.
but since the early 1800s, but these were
Yeah, you predate
500,
that.
600, 800 years ago, they say. And my belief is more that civilization has come to this precipice that we're at several times and collapsed itself.
I agree with that.
I think we destroy
yeah,
ourselves infinitely.
Well,
So-
maybe not even just us, but maybe cataclysmic events.
Alex was talking before you got here about the possibility of pre-humans
Oh, yeah.
already living here,
Oh yeah,
and that they, for whatever reason, went off of the surface and went below.
That brings
Right.
it back around to the whole Antarctica thing.
Yeah.
Well-
maybe because even the Hopis were like believing in the ant people, or their myths or whatever you would say, like they're religious.
they're
like,
legends.
an ant person comes up out of the fucking ground and they see him and he's like all white and pasty and he's like blinded in his eyes,
Mhm.
so like, and that makes sense too. Like if you came up
Right. And
from underground, you're not going to be able to fucking see. You
And if
don't even
these-
need that.
if
right?
these were their stories, how do they know that? Because it's pretty recent that as people, we know that things that live in caves, we find these caves that have they break them open or whatever, and they haven't had any kind of light in there for centuries or whatever, and all the animals are blind,
Oh,
or
yeah.
pasty, some of them are bioluminescent.
Oh,
How would
adapt.
how would they have known that as Hopis? Because they didn't have scientists like we got now,
Oh,
you know what I mean?
absolutely. Unless they saw something like that.
Unless they saw it. Yeah. And another thing that brings us to here, Congress just had that whole deal go on. They were talking about how they have alien craft coming out of the ocean. Congress is admitting that.
Oh yes, I saw this. Still, it was
some
somebody.
government entity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are these? What do they call them? UAPs, isn't that what they call them
Yeah,
now?
UAPs.
Where are they coming from? They're coming from the ocean. It's like, we just kind of glossed over that a little bit. Like, what the hell is
What's
going on?
AP?
UAP? It's unidentified aerial phenomenon. Well, with the thing going on in New Jersey where these drones are coming in off the ocean. I don't know if you guys have heard it. I'm sure everybody
Yeah,
has
what's
here.
that all about? dude?
But it wasn't the drones. It was really like, what the hell? What is that? It's the orbs. There's these orbs that have like turning circles inside of them.
That's how
How-
Foo Fighters got their name,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
of the things the pilots saw during World War II, and
Yeah.
they called them Foo Fighters. And then the band heard that and said, "Oh, that's a cool name for a
Right,
band."
right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, where are these coming from? Well, they're coming from the ocean, it seems. And they say they're, and then again, it just could be another one of our government things that we don't know about. We didn't know about the SR-71 until
Well,
the
I don't know.
1980s, and it was retired then.
Yeah.
I don't know, because check this out. I knew this guy, and he was like 77 years old at the time. I don't know. He died fucking 5-6 years ago, and he owned fucking those big fucking huge fucking industrial fishing boats and shit.
Right.
He had like 2 or 3 of them, and he said the craziest fucking thing he ever saw out there, because he did it like year round. The craziest thing he ever saw, he said this orb come up out of the ocean. Made no
Mhm.
splash, no sound, nothing. It was just hovering around an
Yeah.
hour or two. And then boom, back into the ocean. Fast as fucking light.
Right.
And didn't even make a wave, a splash, nothing separate.
Right,
just into the ocean. Like it didn't even fucking phase that craft. It just boom.
Yeah.
And it wasn't there. Like water didn't fucking mean
Right.
anything to it.
Yeah, it
Like,
just goes through all
manipulated- yeah.
surfaces. Yeah. Tucker Carlson had something he was talking about with that, where somebody had told him about it, and these things are doing 300-400 knots underwater.
And then
And
that
nobody can
fucking
explain
fast
it.
as shit.
That's
God, ain't nothing catches up with that.
right. Yeah.
Dude.
And it goes from air to water with no, there's
Yeah, nothing. It's just it's like the air and the water are the same thing to it.
We were talking about this earlier, and I know I've heard reports where the water separates away from the aircraft or whatever it is, so it never touches the craft. Like
Right.
it's a tunnel that opens up for them to go into.
And if they had technology like that whole Jesus part or Moses part in the sea
Yeah.
thing,
Mhm.
that'd make a lot of sense.
right.
You know?
Oh yeah.
If they had some technology, alien technology, where he
Right.
just fucking opened it up and closed it behind him and was like, kill all you motherfuckers.
I mean,
Right.
isn't it really egotistical of humans to think we're the only intelligent life form anywhere?
Yeah, because there's monkeys out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's not just egotistical. It's stupid to think that. I
Yeah,
mean,
dude, with all
it's
the-
insane.
Like, and no, you know what's insane is with the infinite number of the universe out
Right.
there, like the infinite possibility of the universe, like we know more about the universe than we do our ocean.
Our own oceans. Yeah.
True.
That's
True, true.
weird. And we're
Mhm.
right here on Earth.
What if whales and dolphins had thumbs? We'd be fucked.
Oh.
Those things are smart as hell, man.
Oh, dude, they can compute really fast.
And they
information.
have skills we don't have, like sonar.
Oh,
There's
absolutely.
a known
That's
fact
dope.
that if a pregnant woman goes to a
A whale.
a dolphin,
a
park
dolphin or a
whatever,
whale or one of those sea parks or whatever they have, that the dolphins will come up and actually kind of trying to commute with the unborn child.
Yeah.
Oh no shit!
It's so
But
neat.
maybe they can communicate with,
Communicate
with a baby that has
Right.
not been desensitized to that shit
Right,
once
exactly,
it left the
yeah.
womb. You know,
Right.
you never know. Like,
How many kids are psychic until they get to a
well,
certain age?
can't they
and they lose it?
can't they fucking swim? If you fucking, I've heard of stories
Oh,
where
yeah.
Oh yeah.
they cut the umbilical cord in like a pool of water,
They
and the
do that
baby
in
fucking
Japan.
swims.
Yeah, the
They
baby
do
swims.
that in Japan. They put them in a
Right.
tank of water. The mother has less labor pains, which is
Mhm.
brilliant. The child, they don't cut the cord. They let the
They let
child
the cord stay
swim
on. Yeah.
up.
Mm-hmm.
It grabs its own air at the top. No need to bat that kid in
Nope.
the butt because he's going to bring. And they have a inherent lack of fear of swimming for the rest of their life
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah, it's awesome.
because the first thing you know is how to swim.
Absolutely,
Right.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, and with the umbilical
and it's
cord,
like riding a bike after.
with
Yeah.
the umbilical cord attached, they've been living in fluid for
Yeah.
9 months.
They're more comfortable there than they are in the dry land.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
With a bunch of lights shining on them and shit.
Yeah.
Again, imagine being born, coming out just
what the fuck?
Yeah.
And not just fucking natural light. It's all these fucking bright ass lights. in
bright
there.
ass lights,
Like, what the
people
fuck,
yelling
you
and
dickheads?
acting
And
a
then
fool.
there's going to be
smacking you.
one Mark Spitz that goes and starts doing laps around the tank before he gets
Right,
out.
right.
you know.
Yeah,
But
put
yeah,
this
with-
guy in the Olympics.
With like the whale population stuff, you talk like dolphins and whales.
Yep.
They were talking about the killer whale populations, like over in Alaska versus South Africa. They get the clicks and all this stuff. They record them. They have different accents.
Wow.
Yeah,
They have different accents. And
yeah.
what?
So like if you're like the whale
I'm
population,
from the South.
yeah,
sucker.
whale population in Alaska would have a different accent than the whale population down in South Africa. Now, of course, they haven't cracked the language, so they can't say if they have a different language or not. But
That would be
definitely different
amazing
accents.
to get that
and,
language.
and they probably would. Like, there's probably clans of whales and whatnot. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
They're probably, and they
Pods.
Pods, yeah.
dolphins too. They probably communicate with their sonar in different ways.
They hunt differently too, down in like South Africa and things like that. And just around the world, they just normally hunt. Some of them are hunting boats over in Europe now. Did you see all of that stuff a couple years ago or last year?
Didn't Greenpeace have a problem with them at one point?
The killer whales.
Yeah, well, some of the aquatic creatures,
Yeah,
interfering with the whalers even.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day.
yeah. But they so down there they hunt normally. They'll hunt seals and they'll do their thing. And of course they'll kill seals just to play with them and just leave them dead.
Fun.
But up in the Arctic and down by the Antarctic, what was that?
Incoming.
Oh, and down by the Antarctic,
Take cover.
whales. Okay, so if they see a seal and they pop their heads up, it's crazy as hell. They'll bring their head, they'll pop it up out of the water and look at the seal up on that ice, and big sheet of ice. And then 3 or 4 whales will come and swim underneath it, break the ice up, and a couple whales will come in behind and wash them off.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And
You ever see what dolphins do
smart
with
as fuck.
puffer fish?
they scare them and make them float.
No.
They play with them.
Yeah.
They play with them, and they
They
get stung
poke them
by
and
them.
they poke them
And then
until
they
they
get
blow
high.
up, and then they play basketball with them.
Well, they get
Right.
so actually, I'm pretty sure it's the pufferfish
Yeah.
that they get fucking poked with them, and they have like this chemical in them that they know how much to use. The dolphins do, and they fucking get high off of this.
Right.
And so they're actually getting fucking stoned
Wow.
under the ocean playing with these fucking pufferfish.
Yeah. Okay. So that checks
It's
out.
fucking
All right.
nuts.
Maybe they're not any smarter than humans. But
No, that's way smart, dude.
That's the whole thing. We haven't explored, but probably 10% of the oceans. And there's things down there we don't know. There's crafts coming out of the ocean that don't act the way they're supposed to
Right.
with oxygen. With
Right.
There's
air and
crafts
water.
that don't craft.
Smarter than I thought you were.
Yeah.
You're Caucasian, right?
Yeah.
Eh?
Where did those people come from?
The mountains of the Caucasus.
The Caucasus.
Caucasus Range.
Well,
Yeah,
mountain
here's
range.
the thing: is grasshoppers live in the grass. Snow
Right.
leopards live in the snow. Where the fuck do cockroaches live?
Oh, then they told me it was only crabs. Damn them.
Oh, those are big crabs.
And they fly.
Oh man, that's scary.
Yeah.
There's so many unknown things out there, and that's the beauty
Absolutely.
of using your mind to trying to figure it all out. Because
Imagine if you could tap into all of it.
Right.
Your whole entire mind.
I don't
your
think
pineal gland.
I don't think your emotional self could handle the knowledge.
I feel like brain power controls feelings. A weak-minded person has
Fear.
a lot more feeling.
You're telling me a very brilliant person can't fall in love and do stupid things?
A
That's
more
true.
intelligent person, I think, would have less. I feel like would have less like emotional reactions to anything.
I don't know.
You
I
got
don't
a
think
lot
that's
of
true.
psychopaths out there that did
Yeah.
terrible crimes against other people that were like, what was the bomber's name
But
back
they,
years and
see,
years
they
ago?
did terrible
Kaczynski.
crimes because
Kaczynski was
they had
a
no feeling.
professor
Right.
but they had no feeling.
emotionally.
He had feeling. It just wasn't
But
the right. It just wasn't in the right place.
Maybe he emotionally handled it, and he just said, "This is what's going to make my statement pop." and this is how I'm going to get through it, and I win because
That's
I got
every
my statement
teenage
out
kid that shoots up a school.
there.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Which is what Ted is. So it's an emotional out of controlness that they have, like Ted Kaczynski going around bombing things
Right.
because of technology or whatever the hell it was.
Educated. I don't know about smart though.
True.
Yeah, there's that.
Einstein wrote a letter to FDR after they used the bombs saying he was sorry he even mentioned it, or that would have never happened.
Yeah.
Right.
But someone else would have
Someone else would have come up with it. Einstein came up with the equation, and those guys came up with the.
Well, he warned them more that the Germans were going that direction. If we didn't get on it, they were going to get there first.
Right.
So we better step up our game just so we're not the second most powerful country in the world.
Right.
But, that's also the captain of the Angola Gay, which dropped the very first bomb. He struggled with that whole action for the rest of his life.
Who the guy that actually dropped the bomb?
Tibbets was his name, Colonel Tibbets. And he was the pilot and the head guy on that flight for both aircrafts.
Right.
And it bugged him bad for the rest of his life, knowing that he personally wiped out that many people with this one device.
Okay.
And I can get it.
But he was very emotionally affected.
Absolutely.
Could you handle that?
Honestly, I can't tell you.
Guy? I don't know if I could, but at the same time, honestly, I think I could. I don't
if
think
I
I'd go
weigh
home.
it by the millions of lives I might have saved by us not having to invade Japan,
which is exact. But the ends justifies the means.
I guess.
What you guys got to realize
Well,
is,
you're saving your people.
But you're
God bless
personally-
these people, not those people.
You're personally doing it as one individual versus hundreds and thousands of troops doing it individually.
Yeah, but I would rather get it over with without having to have that hundreds and thousands of troops out there dying because those are my people.
absolutely.
I get
I'd
that
rather be
too.
the guy to go in there and just do it all for them and I'll take the weight.
But the nuke wasn't even.
I'm not saying I don't know how I'd feel afterwards, but I feel like I would want to get it over.
There's a great book out there was written not too long ago. It's called The Last Train to Nagasaki. And it was all about how the percentile of the bombs they didn't detonate as big as they should have.
Right.
And basically they were only like 1/3 or 1/4 strength of what we thought they were going to do.
Until
No, when they went off. I'm
Until
saying
we got
it
the
could
atom
have
bomb.
They should have been bigger.
or the atom bomb should have been bigger.
No,
way bigger.
They thought they were going to be bigger.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
'Cause that thing was huge.
Yeah, it was huge. It killed 135,000, 150,000. I mean,
It got the point across.
just like that. But the thing is, that wasn't even the worst thing we did over there as far as bombing goes. The largest kill rate we had in one mission was the firebombing at Tokyo. It was something like 240,000 people died.
Yeah.
What we did was
How many bombs?
we used incendiary bombs, and we bombed it, and basically it made a big
Fire
fire that just went in and just burned
engulfed
these people.
everything, and
Yeah.
fucking they just smothered and died.
Sean, did you ever hear that in our bombing campaign in Vietnam, we dropped more bombs on North Vietnam than we did during all of World War II?
Right. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
A lot smaller bombs though.
No, they
better,
were napalm
newer,
and better.
bigger.
And yeah.
Oh,
They even
shit.
had
Not nuclear weapons,
not
but
nuclear, but yeah, they were non-nuclear.
but the amount of TNT level, if you want to use that,
Right. Yeah.
Sure,
explosives
the blast
was
amount.
way more than all of the missions in World War II to put together.
put together in Europe and the Pacific Theater.
Jesus.
And they even had flechette bombs, which were wild. Did you hear about those?
No.
So like a flechette round, if you don't know, is if you go in like tanks and artillery, what it is they load this round up and it goes, and it's 10,000 darts.
Okay.
10,000 darts in a round.
It's like a shotgun shell.
Like a shot, but they're
Yeah.
darts. They have fins on them. Well, they were dropping
Oh.
these from planes and just going over these guys and just raining this shit down on them. Yeah,
Shit.
yeah. They're called
And darts
flechettes.
will flip over and just go straight down. They're good. Fucking.
Yeah.
But the only reason they still
Are they
won
like?
is
Were they
because-
like the size of darts? Like lawn darts?
Yeah, they're huge.
Jesus Christ! Just go straight through you.
Right.
Oh yeah, but they
Stick you
were
to trees and all kinds of
they
shit.
fought from the tunnels. A lot of times they never had to even pop their heads up.
Right.
They could
Oh
just-
man, they had little fucking dudes, and I had a buddy that told me
Yeah.
his dad was one of them tunnel guys.
I
They
worked
would
with
go
a
through
tunnel
it.
rat,
Yeah.
and he told me stories that just blow your mind. First of all, they couldn't carry a gun down there because it made no sense because there were so many curves you couldn't make a long shot.
What do you do in the tunnel?
You had a knife and a flashlight.
That's
That's
it?
all you had.
And you kill the one guy.
And you'd kill whatever you came across. And you had to eat their diet because you would smell different and they'd find you by your smell.
Mm-hmm.
So
Really?
you had to eat their food so you smelled
Yeah.
like them and you pooped like them so you wouldn't give yourself away.
That's
true.
fucking wild.
There's stories about
That's so smart.
about the North Korean conflict and stuff where the Marines were there and they would smell them.
Yep.
And once they started smelling them, then they'd start throwing grenades over the hill.
No shit.
Yeah, and they killed, just
These
unbelievable
motherfuckers smell like McDonald's coming in
whatever.
here.
Yeah, it's their diet or whatever.
Yeah.
that's just, I guess all of us do that. Whatever we're eating, I imagine we smell different than somebody over in Afghanistan.
Damn, John, you kind of did smell like dick today.
Oh, yeah.
Just today, I thought that was every day.
What are you guys doing smelling dicks? I don't understand this.
Well, we're just going by what you tell us about your date night. Yeah. But have you guys ever heard that if you take a vegetable from like 300 years ago and compare it to today, they were so much healthier because, first of all, their planting process, they didn't plant in depleted soil that had no minerals left in it because they just keep over farming it. And there was no herbicides, there was no chemicals, there was none of this stuff.
Right.
It was just plain fertilizer from the animals.
And they didn't have wheelchairs back then.
Right.
What does that got to do with anything?
Well, harder to eat the vegetable. It makes it.
Oh, you sick. I did not see that coming.